It's train time, starting now, right after this small intro.
In compliance with COPA, this video is not for children under the age of 14. Your discretion is advised. Sponsored by Canadian Model Railroad.ca and by donations from patrons like you. Further support provided by miniprint.ca. Make your layout come alive with the 3D creation of miniprint.ca. And now on with the show with your hosts, Peter and Joe.
What time it is?
It's train time.
Episode number 30.
Yes.
And today we have another bonus video from the CMR.
Yes. We're going to look at some ballasting.
Yeah, ballasting, mainline ballasting, short line ballasting with concrete ties, ballasting with regular ties, all done with Peter. Beautiful hands to do ballasting. So the video is done with Peter. So with any further ado,
let's have a look.
That's right.
We
Enjoy.
are going to be doing some ballasting on the CMR, and we're just going to do a little demo. I want to go over the tools first. I have two different pipettes. One I use with water isopropanol mix. The other one I will be using with the half and half glue water with a couple of drops of soap in it. The other material, of course, that we have is the ballast. Now, the section that we're doing is a main line and a siding in Schreiber area, which is between Steel River and Thunder Bay. So we have an iron ore mix. So the main line, of course, is a little coarser gravel. I also use a little finer gravel. And to get the iron ore, we use this Indian red, very fine ballast. Now, the mixes, this is the main line mix. Just take a spoonful of it. You can see there's coarse as well as the iron ore in there. That will be the main line one. This one is the siding. Now it's a little dirtier because we used this ballast as well instead of the fine gray to give it a little dirtier and a little more iron ore content in the siding. Okay, so we're not using the hopper method. I like to use paint brushes, and for HO I'm using a nylon 1/2 inch and this number 12, and those will be my ballast spreaders. For my end scale at home, this one would be my main spreader, and then I would use a slightly smaller one for the fine tuning. Okay, so let's start this off. Now I've got this ballast mix. And like I said, it's 3 parts, and I just take my spoon, and we want to stay away from the working mechanism of the switch, and I start in the middle. I go down the middle and just lay a pile of ballast down the middle. You have to remember that when you spread this out, you're going to have to spread it towards the switch as well. So then I go down the sides as well, and again, I don't want to get close to the working mechanism of the switch. I have to do this left-handed. Once I've got piles of this spread along the track, we'll start using the brush. And that's the time-consuming part, is the brush. So my 1/2 inch, I just start working down. Now I'm going to work back towards the switch because I didn't put too much, and I just want to go into this area here, and then I'll work back. And you just keep working the ballast with the big brush down the middle, and don't worry about spillage over the sides because you want that. You'll work the sides afterwards. So it may be a little more time consuming than some methods, but I like this because I can really work at it and make sure all of my flangeways are clear. So go back to the switch here and you'll see where we've got gravel in the guides here. I'll just take my other brush and make sure those guides and the frogs and everything are all cleaned out nice. Okay. Now this brush is also used for the fine tuning, spreading down the middle. So you want a brush that's not extremely soft. You want it stiff enough that it'll spread the gravel. So we go down, and it's looking pretty good. You can see our flangeways along here pretty clear, and that's what you want. You don't want to have cars going along there and running over grit. So we'll just spread that out a little more. Now, we've got to get in between here and spread this, clean this out a bit. You don't want that interfering with anything. And I just keep brushing it until I start exposing the ties. Now, when we get to the point of doing the outside, I overlap the brush on the rail and just use it like a plow and push it along, and it pushes it away from the rail. Then I go back and do my sweeping, like so. And these little piles here, we'll come back and deal with those after. But it's basically just going along with your brush and working it along like this. Now you'll notice that sometimes we get a little more ballast piling up in the middle. You just go back and sweep that away. So everything is good and clean. And we'll do the other rail so you can see. You just overlap the rail and try to use the brush like a plow. And just spread it along like that. Back and tidy it up. Now you see these piles like here and here. We can now use the brush and spread those out a little bit and just kind of pack them down. You can leave some of them as long as you've got clearance for all your rolling stock and locomotives. But I just keep working this along like that until I'm happy with how I've got the embankment built up. Again, on the outside here, there's a little bit of a void there, so we'll just swoop some extra gravel in like that. And we'll just move this. I had a comment from one of our partners, Tony, and he worked on the railway, and his comment was, don't worry about getting your edges perfect. You're going to have some variation because in real life, ballast on the railroad is not perfectly straight. So that's basically the spreading. It's all done dry. And now that we've got that, we are going to do the wet part, which is our isopropanol and water mix. I even put a little drop of dish detergent in that. Because what we're going to do is we're going to soak this with the isopropyl mix, and that will help the glue spread afterwards. So I start by going down the middle, make sure that we got, it doesn't have to be overly wet, but just let it, you know, like a capillary action, it'll work into the sides of the ballast. So we got that all nice and wet. So we're done with that. Put that aside. Now comes the glue. Now the glue is approximately a 50-50 mix of glue and water. Doesn't have to be distilled, but you can use distilled. And it's got a couple of drops of dish detergent. And you want it kind of a consistency that it comes out of the pipette nicely, okay? You don't want it too thick. So now we've got the center of the rail all wet. We're just going to go with our glue and soak the center. And you see how there's no surface tension at all with the mixture. And then I'll go down the outside of the rail. Now we've only done about a 1 foot piece of track here, so you can see that it is time consuming to a degree, but I prefer this result to using one of those hoppers. So that's the main line with a mixture of iron ore and mainline ballast. And you see how that is fairly wet. And that is, don't worry about the bubbles, they'll disappear. That's basically how I do ballasting on HO, and then like the smaller brushes on N scale. Okay, now we've got a siding here, and we've added more iron ore to it, but it's the same process. Now normally I would have done all of this dry. I wouldn't have done any glue on the other track, but that's okay, it'll work. We spoon this on like we did before. It's like you're playing gravel truck. And again, I take my 1/2-inch brush and I just work it back. You see, I don't want to get into, there's a big chunk, I don't want that in there. Just work it away from the switch and down the line. Now you can see the difference in the color of the ballast. We have more iron ore on the siding because of carloads being dropped off. That's, take my other brush, make sure all of these flangeways on the switch are clear. And I'll just work that down. And like I say, I would have done all of this dry, but for demonstration purposes, this works. Go back, make sure we've got enough ballast on the outside of the rail. Same method, just overlap the rail with your brush and just move it along. And once you're happy with the way everything looks, then you're ready to do the wet part, excuse me. Just a little more sweeping here. And like this, if you need to, you can always add some ballast. But you can see the difference between the main line and the siding. Much more iron ore in the siding and a little finer base ballast. So that's basically the effect you get. And for each different scene, you can think of different types of ballast. Most of our main line here will be the coarse gray ballast, but you can add different mixtures of different colored ballast to get different effects. When we get into our steel mill area, we'll be adding cinders, so you get the blackened ballast. So all kinds of options, and like I say, I like to use the brushes. So happy modeling.
Well, Peter, I really enjoy your techniques.
Oh, thank you.
You know,
Might be a little different than what some people do, but you know.
yeah, but you know, mixing the ballast and so on, the way you do it,
Yep.
it creates some flavor
Yep.
to the railroad.
And it's also a little different. Like with my home layout and scale, I do things a little different. The brushes are smaller, and I tend to use my fingers to spread the ballast. So,
But on HO, it's a little bit different.
well, you got more room to play with. Yeah.
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 But when you look at the final product by itself, it certainly looked very good.
Yeah. No,
You know.
it works out.
So, and when you got a large layout, you do not want to have your ballast all the same.
No.
You know, because it goes, like what you did on the Schreiber sub. You got more reddish in there because you got a lot of iron line and so on around there. While versus some other place you use different colors with your ballast, and we can really differentiate the main lines from the siding and from the spurs.
And that's kind of what you want to achieve. Is if you're out rail fanning, it's something to look at. Is look at the ballast that's on main lines as opposed to sidings.
Yeah. It's a question of observation, you know.
Yep.
And now, folks, we'll go with the photo of the month, and also we'll show you the view from above.
View from above, yeah.
Right? And
Always two good segments.
yes, always, and see you after that.
Enjoy.
Ever wanted to take a nostalgic trip back to the steam era? Through the Window of a Train is the book for you. Or go back into history with the Memory of the Moonlight specials. Through the Window of a Train for $19.95, or Memory of the Moonlight specials for $21.95, or 4 limited time offers. You can get both books signed for only $39.95 plus shipping. Order now.
Well, that was good again.
Yes, always enjoyable.
And as far as our last segment of the show for this month, I put together a series of little videos that we got, about Railfanning. So hoping that you enjoyed that, guys.
Yep. And we're always grateful to receive short videos, photographs, whatever. It's nice to see what you guys are looking at and are interested in.
Well, folks, that's the show for this month, and I encourage you also to go and visit the webpage of Miniprint at www.miniprint.com and see all the new stuff that they got.
That he's got, yeah.
And next month we'll reveal to you the diorama that go for the contest of mini print, with all the nice mini prints that we have received from Bernard.
Yes.
So stay tuned with us. We want to see you in the next episode, which will be number 31, I believe.
Yep. Send us comments.
Send us comments. You can also leave comments about our video on our Facebook group page, which is Canadian Model Railroad. So till then, happy modeling.
Happy modeling.
And see you in number 31.